Lab Guy here. The Cartrivision Camer-A-Thon continues. Today we're going to look at the Cartrivision camera's internal sync generator and timing system. As you recall, this camera requires a 60 cycle pulse from the power line in addition to 18 volts DC in order to operate. These are two limitations that have kept these cameras from being used in vast numbers, and they still exist in vast numbers. Cartrivision made a lot of them. I've learned a great deal about the internal timing of the camera in the past 2 weeks, and I'm going to share with you what I've learned, and I'm going to discuss the solutions that I believe will work best for operating this camera on a battery and divorcing it from the 60 cycle power line. So let's look at those options now. A quick overview of the Cartrivision's internal timing system is in order before we look at the options. If you look at this diagram, you'll note that the center block is a voltage controlled oscillator, or a VCO. It outputs a frequency of 31.5 kilohertz. This is 2 times the horizontal scanning frequency, or the line frequency for our friends in Europe. This frequency of 31.5 kilohertz is fed to a digital divider circuit made up of 4 TTL divider chips. They first divide the frequency by 1/2 to give us the 15,750 cycles used for horizontal scanning in the American television system. A second string of dividers divides the 31.5 kilohertz by 525, and this gives us a perfect 60 hertz pulse. That goes to the vertical scanning, or the frame scan, for our friends in Europe. The 60 hertz is also fed back to a phase comparator, or a phase detector, that is on the left side of the diagram, and that 60 cycles is compared with a 60 cycle pulse derived from the AC power line in the USA and other 60 cycle countries. The two signals are compared with each other, and depending on how far off phase they are from each other, an error voltage is created. It could be a higher voltage or a lower voltage. That voltage controls the frequency and phase of our voltage controlled oscillator, closing the loop. So if our oscillator is running fast, our 60 cycles will be just a little bit high, and when it's compared with the power line frequency, which we will assume is perfectly steady, and generally speaking it is, we compare our generated 60 cycles with the reference 60 cycles from the AC power line, generate an appropriate error voltage to correct the master oscillator, and then compare again. It's compared 60 times a second, and the oscillator is updated 60 times a second until it is brought into phase with the power line. Now let's look at 3 potential options for replacing or modifying the existing circuit in the camera. Option number 1, we replace the VCO with a crystal oscillator. This immediately eliminates the need to phase compare the output of the divider chain with anything, and we generate perfectly good horizontal and vertical sync. In the last video, I demonstrated my crystal oscillator, and indeed it works. There are 2 serious disadvantages with that oscillator, and this is particular to that oscillator. One, the 31.5 kilohertz crystal is extremely rare. It is a rare frequency, hard to find. And two, crystals of a frequency that low are very large physically, just by the nature of a slab cut crystal. Option number two is to use a readily available crystal that is very small. And the best choice for that is the crystal used in digital watches. They're tiny. And the frequency is not that much different from 31.5 kilohertz. They happen to be 32.768 kilohertz. This is a magic number. Some of you will recognize that that is 2 to the 15th power. In a watch, they use 15 divided by 2 circuits in a row to divide that frequency down to 1 cycle per second to tick over the seconds in a clock circuit. We can take that frequency and divide it by 546, which will give us a pulse close enough to 60 cycles that will work perfectly fine for referencing this camera. It has an accuracy of 99.9975%. This will work. However, we have to build a crystal oscillator circuit, that's one integrated circuit, and then the digital divider to give us the 60 cycles. That's 3 more integrated circuits. So we're adding 4 chips to the camera, and this camera has no room inside for that. So that is the disadvantage of this option. Option number 3 is an integrated circuit made by National in the late 1970s and early 1980s called the MM5369. It's a small chip. It's an 8-pin DIP, the same as an LM555 timer IC. And it operates with a easily available 3.579545 megahertz color TV crystal. You can get these by the bucketful for next to nothing. So we immediately have a circuit that is very small with an easily available crystal, and it gives us a 60 cycle pulse that is 99.9999% accurate. I like this third option the best, so I have ordered MM5369 integrated circuits on eBay. They're coming from China, so let's just say the check is in the mail. When those chips get here, I will of course wire one up right away, and we will be able to feed a 60 cycle pulse to the camera, meaning that we don't have to modify anything in the Cartrivision camera. We have a ready-to-use 60 cycle pulse from a single integrated circuit with a single crystal. And the best part is that we can put this external to the camera. It could be, if we build a little AC adapter, we can put that circuit in the AC adapter itself and send the pulse up the existing cable. It's wired for that, and so on. So that is the advantage of that circuit. So stay tuned for that. The final option that I would like to talk about is operating your Cartrivision TV camera on a 12-volt battery. It can be done. Another option for battery operation is to get 3 6-volt batteries and wire them in series to give you 18 volts. The disadvantage to this technique is, one, the battery is now 50% heavier than a 12-volt battery, and the camera is now operating on a voltage that over time will change. As the battery runs down, the voltage will drop. And we'd rather not do that to our camera. The camera really wants to see a regulated 18 volts. A device called a boost regulator is available. A boost regulator is one that takes in a voltage and puts out a higher voltage. I was able to buy 5 boost regulators on eBay for $6, free shipping. Can't complain about that. You're looking at one right now. I've tested it. It works. It does have a disadvantage. it puts out some electrical noise, and it's getting into the video a little bit. We will have to look into how to filter that out. The device is very small. It's about the size of a postage stamp. I plan to build a battery pack. I have ordered a 12-volt, 5-amp-hour battery that's rather compact with a charger, and again on eBay. It's in the mail. The check's in the mail. And when that arrives, I will attempt to assemble a battery pack that you can either clip to your belt or hang on a strap like a small camera bag, and power the Cartrivision camera from that so that it could be plugged into a recording device or connected to a monitor. And now you will be able to reuse your Cartrivision camera for actually recording black and white Vidicon tube based video. So please stay tuned for those episodes coming up soon. Now, wasn't that exciting, boys and girls? We're going to get these cameras running. We're going to make them portable. And I have another surprise up my sleeve that I'm looking at that will allow us to operate them like a Portapack camera of the 60s or 70s with the recorder in our pocket. So I'm sure that should interest many of you. And I really want to breathe some life into these cameras. There are quite a few of them still in existence, and we are going to see to it that at least 2 or 3 more of them come to life and are used. It's a shame that Cartrivision built so many of these cameras and they're lying around in boxes in garages and storage lockers. That's just a crying shame. That concludes my analysis of the current Cartrivision camera situation here at Lab Guys World. So welcome all new subscribers. You guys are still signing up 4 or 5 a week. I love it. Thank you. You're welcome here anytime. I hope you're getting some new knowledge from the videos that I make. I hope it excites your excitability. Greetings to all of the current subscribers. Thank you for watching the videos. Much appreciated. You're keeping the channel alive. You're giving me a purpose for this equipment, and I'm more than happy to bring this information to you. So stay tuned for more upcoming episodes in the Cartrivision Camer-A-Thon. At some point we'll return to the NBTV Dissector Cam project. That guy is very close to completion and will complement nicely the NBTV CRT monitor, the NBTV big televisor, mechanical television, and make a nice companion to the 10.4 Eleanor NBTV signal generator. So for those of you who are following that series, keep the faith. We're going to get back to that very soon. And for further news, I am grinding away in my brain on a new standard definition TV signal generator of a reasonably low cost that will actually interface with a PC and have a Windows app that can operate it so that you can load it with your own pictures and to provide you with standard definition test patterns with ease. And I will do 2 versions of that. One of them will be monochrome and one of them will be color. So stay tuned for that coming up in the next couple of months. So until next time, this is Lab Guy, as usual. Lab Guy out.